Welcome into Jetsnation Radio, episode 16 there, folks. I'm your host, Angus Hout. Thank you for tuning in on this incredibly cold winter's night here in Manitoba. I saw it's supposed to get up to like +4 this week on Tuesday. I'm excited for that. I'm supposed to go hiking that day and could not have come at a better time. But let's break down the last week that was for the Winnipeg Jets. I know they only played 2 games, but we got a whole lot to talk about. So, Tuesday night, Jets take on the Coyotes. That was a fun little game. Jets would end up winning that one. Of course they won that one. I mean, it was a little bit uneasy watching the Arizona Coyotes goaltender start to block every shot, and you're getting down to like the last couple of minutes of the first period. You're like, if the Jets don't score now, it's going to be another 1-0 game. And even at 2-0, was it tied up at 1-1, or if it was 2-1, whatever the score was there, it was still pretty nerve-wracking until the Jets could finally open up the scoring. I think they didn't even open up the scoring. They just got the third goal in the third period, and then finally the empty netter to shut her down. And Nikolai Ehlers, unfortunately, he had a really great night. He played phenomenally, but after that final goal for the Jets, he was very emotional on the bench, and finding out that his grandfather's in hospice, obviously incredibly sad, and just feel for the guy, because like, if you're close with a family member and they're at the end of their line, it's hard. And the fact that he had a really good conversation with his grandpa that day, I'm really proud of that and really happy that he scored that goal. And I feel for the guy, because to lose a family member when you're overseas, I couldn't imagine it. I know when I was traveling the world, it was like one of those things I was always like really weary of, is like, what if I lose somebody that I'm really close with, and what if I have to hop on a plane to try to catch the funeral, or worse yet, I miss it. So best of luck to Nikolai Ehlers and his family there. It's rough to go through that, and just the fact that he's still playing at such an elite level, I respect it. And Nick Ehlers, just #1 guy in the world. That guy has the biggest heart, and if you can't see that, then why are you a Winnipeg Jets fan? Because honestly, that guy is an absolute beauty, and the fact that he's playing through this, nothing but respect for that man. So, yeah, be kind to Nikolai Ehlers if you see him out in public. I mean, I hope you guys are anyways, but yeah, fun little win for them overall on Tuesday night. It was a little bit worrisome, but Jets got her done because they can. And then we get to Thursday night. Jets are playing awesome for the first 20 minutes, absolutely, and then even the last 10 minutes of the game. Jets were looking pretty all right, but the turning point, I think, for that game was, just that first goal that Kadri, I don't know if he actually scored it or not. I never looked it up or not, but Kadri on that first goal, I think that threw off the Jets scoring so late in the first period. And then the big hit that Pierre-Luc Dubois that led to the interference penalty, that was awesome to see. If you're following us on TikTok, Jets Nation, I think that's our tag. Look us up. We hashtag things. We do Winnipeg Jets things. But I had that up there, and just like the big hit, and the fact that PLD took on O'Connor from the Colorado Avalanche, so much fun. Like, I got into it, and I just love to see it. So, wow, I got way off topic there. So, yeah, that was the last week for the Jets. Back to the question, does the Central Division have the... Oh. Sorry, I had restarted this episode several times, so let's go back. I hadn't actually asked that question during this podcast. I'm so sorry. But either way, Jets ended up losing 7-1. That's the second time this year that the Jets have lost 7-1. And it's just heartbreaking. And it's like, you guys are so much better than this. And the Jets kept up with the Avalanche for, I would say, 30 minutes of that game. And it just didn't pan out. Grubauer. Not Gruby. Darcy Kemper. Sorry, I'm confusing my goaltenders. Camper looked phenomenal. Although he got a little bit blown out against the Leafs, I believe he allowed 4 goals in. two of them, which were Austin Matthews' goals against the Toronto Maple Leafs on Saturday night. But either way, Grubauer looked phenomenal, and I think that was just one of those games where just the Jets didn't have any answers. They tried everything they could. Kemper, holy, come on, dude. Kemper looked phenomenal and just kept it out, and I think there was just a point of frustration for the Jets where they're like, well, that's it. And then after being down 3-1, I think the Jets kind of forgot to care, and then someone on the bench must have said something with the last 10 minutes of the game because they showed up again, and I like to see it. So, overall, pretty proud of the Jets. Obviously, not the result we want, but, you know, you got to look at it this way of if the Jets are going to lose, they might as well lose big and then learn from it. And that moves me on to an actual question that I'm going to ask is, how do the Jets recover from that 7-1 loss, especially when they have a week between games? And I think it's just a matter of relax. I mean, you and I have obviously had bad days at work where we're just like, holy, I can't believe I had that bad of a day at work. Somebody's yelled at me, and I don't even know if I want to show up again. But those guys all showed up. I mean, Nate Schmidt had a fantastic post-practice interview. He was feeling chipper, and he's just like, he's taking this week to just relax and get back into it. So I think, honestly, having this long of a week off, or like having this much time off between games, probably good for the Jets just to, you know, study what they can from this loss and just like, hey, we can build on this, and maybe we can get a couple more wins on the Colorado Avalanche as the season moves on. Also, this team is fiery. I mean, how many times have the Jets just looked like a couple, like, I'm not saying they're dirty, so I don't want to use the word rat bastards, but there's just something about the Jets right now where you're like, oh, these guys are causing issues, and teams are not loving the Jets. I mean, the Oilers, absolutely. Arizona, it seemed like it was getting a little bit fiery as well, and even this Colorado game. It's just always something happening, and the Jets are just kind of one of these sneaky teams that you don't think you hate, well, that other teams don't think they hate, and then we're playing, and all of a sudden it's like, ooh, they hate the Winnipeg Jets. So, I don't know, I'm kind of liking the fact that the Jets are a little bit of these rough and tumble guys, and they're like, yeah, this is us, so we might not lay the biggest hits, but we'll make you a little bit pissed off. So, I don't know, I kind of like it, but sometimes it does bite them in the butt. Again, like that big hit from PLD on Kadri, I think that was a turning point for that Colorado game. And that's when Colorado decided, all right, we woke up because you hit one of our stars. I know not Kadri isn't really necessarily a star, but he's still pretty darn good. I mean, you would want him on your team. You want kind of a rat guy like that on your team, and you want a rat guy like that who's going to score you goals as well. So, Kadri, yeah, I mean, PLD hit the wrong guy, and it woke up the entire team, and, I mean, 7-1. It's the only way we can look at it. So, lots of practice, and I think the guys just need to relax. I mean, it sucks that you have a 7-1 loss twice in a single season, but, meh, you can recover. And, I mean, like, what, the Jets are, I think they're 3 points back of a playoff spot now. I think the Oilers officially lost their spot the other night, and yeah, I think the Jets are like pretty darn close to being one of the wild card teams, and I know wild card teams don't generally win Stanley Cups, but hey, why not believe in the fact that you got a 1 in 16 chance to win the cup? So it's only 16 games you got to win, and I think, like, honestly, a loss like this can help the Winnipeg Jets if they have the opportunity to get into the Stanley Cup playoffs. So, going to the question that I was referencing earlier, but didn't talk about because I got confused about things. Either way, let's just carry on. Does the Central Division have the most disparity? So, like, what do I mean by that is that, like, you look at the 4 divisions, you got the Metro, you got the Atlantic, the Pacific, and the Central, which the Jets are in. And I think legitimately that the Central Division has the most disparity. So you look at the bottom 3 teams, you got Dallas, Chicago, and Arizona. 3 pretty trash teams. I mean, Dallas, Klingberg is wanting out of there, and he's a stud. You want that guy on your team. He wants to trade as soon as possible. And I've watched the last couple of Dallas games because there's literally nothing else on half the time. So I'll watch those games, and Dallas is a rough team to watch. Like, I don't get it. Like, that year that they pushed for the Stanley Cup Finals versus now, I know it's only a season and a half difference, but that is a huge difference. Then again, it's only been a half season since Montreal was in the Stanley Cup Finals, and oh boy, that was a rough one, and is still a rough one for the poor Montreal Canadiens. But getting at it, Dallas is a bad team. We all know that Chicago's bad, but we got to shout out Marc-Andre Fleury for being the first NHL goalie to have wins against all 32 teams. You go, buddy. You are a phenom, and I got nothing but respect for the Flower. I mean, it'd be pretty cool to have him as the backup to Connor Hellebuck, or, watch those two, just play the rest of the season. I know it's not going to happen, but I wouldn't say no to Flower. But I know the goaltending is not the issue for the Winnipeg Jets as of right now. It just seems like they're inconsistent. That's their biggest issue. But either way, let's carry on. So either way, yeah, I think the Central Division is has the most disparity. I mean, you also look at the top 3 teams. Nashville, who's surprisingly good. I haven't watched many of their games this season, but I'm like, okay, Nashville's here to play. You got St. Louis, again, didn't expect them to be as good as they are, but they're holding up. Jordan Binnington's having a pretty decent season, and the Blues are scoring at a pretty good rate, so you gotta like what they're doing. And then you got Colorado, who I think they're second in the league points percentage-wise after the first 2 weeks of the season. They are a great team. And we got to see that the other night when they beat us. They beat us bad. And even them coming back against the Toronto Maple Leafs the other night. Of course, Toronto blows a 3-0 lead and takes the L to the Avalanche. So that speaks volumes about the Avalanche. They are a great team. And they're only going to get better as the season goes on. I think they're probably going to make a couple trades to make their team even more successful as we move into the trade deadline season. They're a great team. I'm gonna have to watch more of their games this upcoming week because I want to see if they're legit, or if they're just hot right now. But I think they're legit until they hit the playoffs, and then the second round comes and gets them. But yeah, we'll get there when we get there. We'll make fun of them together. So, but yeah, I think so. And then you got the Winnipeg Jets, who are just right in the middle. They're good. They're not great. They're not bad either. If you've been watching the Jets all season, they've had their bad moments, they've had their great moments. They're inconsistent when it comes to being good. They're inconsistent when it comes to being bad. The Jets are just that anomaly team that they could make the playoffs and then go on a super hot streak, get all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, and pull a Montreal, a Dallas kind of a move. Or the Jets could just totally miss the playoffs, and that's that, and we all just hang out and, well, we might all be in lockdown by the time the playoffs come because Brent Rusin doesn't know what he's doing anymore. Yeah, I'll call you up, Bruce. But either way, yeah, it's just there's the really great people, or really great teams of the Central Division, and obviously the Metro Division is the best division. The Jets would be so far out of a playoff spot in the Metro, but again, they're not there. The East, pretty darn good. They've got Toronto and both Florida teams, right? They're riding at that top level. Obviously, we know that Ottawa's bad, but that's because of bad GMing. You look at the Pacific, that's just a bad division altogether. I know that the Vancouver Canucks are starting to get hot, and if you're looking for Jets or Canucks Army gear, you can get that at Jets. Holy, slow down. You can get that at nationgear.com. They got Bruce there. It is. It's a fun little thing going on there in Vancouver. So if you got Vancouver fans in your life, get them some stuff from nationgear.ca. So, and then Pacific and the Central. So that's the 4 of them. And I don't know. I think the Central Division has the most disparity between teams. So that's just an honest thought, and that's pretty much it. This week, Derek Meek, former Winnipeg Jet, he got to do color commentary for Kevin Sawyer, as Sawyer was out with COVID-like symptoms. And to be perfectly honest, I like Derek Meek way more than Kevin Sawyer. I know a lot of people are very pro Sawyer, but I tune him out every time I hear him talk. He just, yammering away, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to listen to the color guy. Derek Meek, I just enjoyed every word. So I'm not sure if I'm just tired of Kevin Sawyer or what, but I would like to see some more Derek Meek. Last week, we all saw it on Twitter or through however we see our social medias, but Elliot Friedman talking about the Jets looking to relocate temporarily to Saskatoon, to SaskTel Center. And at first I was like, okay, maybe. And then the more and more I thought about it, like, no. You know what? The Winnipeg Jets have lost their team once already. Like, we lost Jets 1.0. I don't need to have the Saskatoon holding the Winnipeg Jets hostage so they can have an NHL team. Listen, Saskatoon already got to steal the Edmonton Rush from Edmonton. It was an NLL team, National Lacrosse League. I loved it. I loved the Rush, and Saskatoon took that away from me. I'm not letting Saskatoon take away the Winnipeg Jets. And no, it's not going to happen. But I did see someone's response to the Saskatoon Jets, and their comment was, and I wish I could remember who said this, but the Saskapag Jets, and I just about killed myself laughing. Like, it was just so funny. I don't know why that was so funny, but Saskapag, that way you still got some ownership from the Winnipeg side, and you give a little bit of love to Saskatoon. But overall, I didn't love the idea. I put a meme up on the Jetsnation Instagram page. It did not receive a lot of love. A lot of you people are just like, no, they can play in SaskTel. I don't care. But honestly, I think if the NHL really wanted to make some money here, they'd go down south of the border. You don't have to worry about border restrictions there. Odds are you can find a rink that's ready to go, because Americans love to build big-ass rinks for no reason. And why not? I mean, when I say big-ass rinks, I really mean they're football stadiums, but I'm sure some super wealthy hockey nut down in Minnesota would be like, oh yeah, I've got all the things for the Winnipeg Jets to set up shop here. And then we'd end up playing in Duluth, Minnesota, and someone's going to be like, Duluth, Minnesota? They could just drive up to Minneapolis to go watch the Wild. And like, nah, let's go make American dollars for Mark Chipman. I know he's a billionaire, but he can go make a few extra dollars. That way, maybe one day when the Jets do need a bigger rink, they can just use the Mark Chipman money instead of using the Winnipeg public funds money. But that's just a personal opinion. So either way, didn't love the fact that the Winnipeg Jets could have become the Saskatoon Jets, especially when you're looking at issues like both Alberta teams had lost more or less everyone at one point to the virus. I've noticed when I say it too much that my algorithm numbers go down. So long and short, we're just gonna say the virus. The virus just kind of shut things down, and shut things down for Calgary at least. The Oilers are starting to lose guys left, right, and center. So, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with this point. But long and short, I don't know if Saskatoon was necessarily the answer for the Jets. And, I mean, at one point or another, I'm sure Alberta is going to shut down too. And then Saskatoon is going to be the only open province. So, are you going to have the Jets, the Oilers, and the Flames all playing in SaskTel? Probably not. That seems like a stupid idea. So, yeah, again, it was a fun idea, but I didn't love the idea, and obviously it got canceled in the end, so that's just the way we gotta look at it. Either way, I would more likely support the Duluth Jets rather than the Saskatpag Jets. But that's, yeah, but let me know, like, do you think that the Jets should have become Saskatoon? Would you rather that they just didn't play games and we wait till the end of the season? What do you figure would be the right course of action as of right now? You can always leave comments down in the YouTube comment section. You can always shoot me a message on Instagram or Twitter, Angus Hout. Or you can just shoot me a message on the Jetsnation's Instagram page as well. I'm always there, and I will always answer your questions if you have some, or I'll read out your thoughts as well. So, looking at the next week for the Jets, it's only one game, once again. They're taking on the Red Wings on Thursday. And let's be honest, the Red Wings are one of those sneaky teams. Sometimes they can be really good, sometimes they can be real bad. So, and as the guy who bets on hockey games quite a bit, I've actually been making a little bit of money once again, but I hate betting against the Wings because every time I do, I lose, but every time I bet on them, I also lose. The Red Wings are one of those mysterious teams, so I kind of hate them because they're so unpredictable. But again, you got to give the Jets probably a win on that. I think with how COVID's kind of starting to go through Detroit, I'm thinking that the Jets can probably pull off a win overall, and maybe we can see some more time for Perfetti. I know he's been playing with the top line during practices lately, so maybe we can see Perfetti on the top line against Detroit. I think that'd be a good team to start off against. Would be a good team for Perfetti to play against on the top line. Because there's good players on Detroit. They're obviously a decent team, but they're a team that will challenge him, but they won't make him have his tail between his legs where he's just like, I'm nervous, I don't want to be here, this is too much. Perfetti's obviously a phenomenal player. He's a billion times better than I am at hockey. That's fine, but I think there's this that window where guys are first stepping into the NHL and they're nervous, and Cole Perfetti seems like one of the nervous guys out there. So I want to see him playing top-line minutes against teams where they're the bottom 10, bottom 12 kind of teams. They're good. They're not that great. And I think that'd just be a perfect team for him to start playing against because they're tough, but they're not too tough. They're good, but they're not too good. So Cole Perfetti, I think, deserves some time on the top six, and he's been getting it during practice, so why not give him some more time? But I'm going to say Detroit loses in overtime. It's an overtime loss for the Detroit Red Wings. Jets pull off the win, 2 points, wonderful. That's what I'm going to call it as. Like I said, Detroit's one of those sneaky teams. You don't really know if they're actually going to be good or not, but I'm going to say they're going to be good, but not good enough. Overtime loss. And then moving to the hot and cold performers of the week, last segment of the show, gonna call out Evander Kane as my cold performer of the week. Dude, how do you keep messing up that badly? If you hadn't heard, his contract is going to be totally exterminated by the Sharks organization. They had decided weeks ago that he was never going to play in the NHL or play for the Sharks in the NHL ever again. And then he got COVID, traveled to Vancouver with it, and just lied about it. And then the Sharks found out. They're like, yeah, your contract's gone. So Evander Kane, he's losing out on $24 million over the next few years. And it's just brilliant, dude. Just brilliant. So, and anyone that suggests that the Winnipeg Jets should even consider looking at picking up Evander Kane, get out of here. Just no more Evander Kane. The Jets have a good forward group. They just need a little bit more help on the back end. That's it. And they just got to be a little bit more confident in themselves. Other than that, the Jets, they're a good team. We don't need Evander Kane here to mess up the whole the chemistry that's happening right now. We don't have a big buff to bully Evander Kane into acting like a responsible human being. So, no to Evander Kane. And Evander Kane, you are my cold performer of the week for just continuously being dumb. And my hot performer of the week goes out to a guy that's playing Junior B hockey out in Prince Edward Island. His name is Keegan Mitchell, and he called out the refs on social media after one of his teammates had anti-Asian slurs thrown at him, and Keegan Mitchell, he's been suspended by the PEI Hockey League, and it's just like bad move on the league side, because every league is promoting this, oh yeah, everyone's involved, we don't hear any of this kind of bad slang anymore. And obviously it's still happening. Like, people are still garbage. It happens. I don't condone it. I'm giving lots of praise here to Mr. Mitchell for calling this out, even though this is probably the end of his hockey career now. But the fact that he's asking the league to be better, asking referees to be better, and he's standing up against it, and he's taking the suspension like a champion, I have nothing but respect for you, Keegan Mitchell, and keep doing the good work, because standing up to this kind of crap needs to happen more, and you deserve my hot performer of the week. Keegan Mitchell, big shout out to you. So that's pretty well it for Jetsnation Radio. I hope to have Darnell back next week. He was doing play-by-play with the Dauphin Kings today, where they ultimately lost in overtime. But fingers crossed we get Darnell back, and if not, well, I'll just continue to record from the closet studio. So, yeah, have yourself a great week. Be safe and be well, my friends, and I will be back next Sunday to chat with you about the Winnipeg Jets here on Jets Nation Radio. That one will be Jets Nation Radio episode 17. Peace!